Hi, this is Jeff with Radical Honesty, and I'm on the theme of Is This the End of the World as We Know It? With all the stresses in this world and all the unusual sort of burdens and stresses we see now. Perhaps, it's paving the way for something else to come that is better, okay? Now, what makes any study of the end time difficult is that there are four different streams of scriptural source. Okay, first you got the Old Testament and unfulfilled prophecy of the Old Testament, and that is very much focused upon Israel and upon the Messiah, okay? The second stream is the book of the Revelation. That's a highly symbolic book, apocalyptic, very figurative. Now, there's some very clear passages, but mostly it's figurative. And really, because of that, you don't want to start your understanding of the end time from the book of the Revelation. It's just too complicated, okay? The last two is from the writings of Paul, okay? He writes a lot about the end times. And the last source is the source of Jesus himself. He speaks quite a bit on the end time, more than you'd ever imagine, okay? Because, people want to talk about that. They want to talk about his ethics, okay? They don't want to talk about his program that he emphasized in his ministry. Now, as we start with this talk on the teaching of Jesus, we're going to bring our attention to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24. I'm going to read you some verses, okay, beginning with verse 9. I'm going to stop and just sort of make a summary and then talk to you about how it relates to the modern time. Revelation chapter 24, verse 9, it goes like this. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Now, that's Matthew 24, verse 9. What that tells you is that when it gets close to the end, Christianity, the true followers of Jesus, we're going to suffer great persecution. It's not like we're going to be loved by all people, okay? That's what we want, okay? But in reality, we will begin to be hated by all people. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And you begin to see that happening, okay? Christianity is getting a bad name. There's always been persecution on Christians in this world, but now in what we call Christianized nations, there's a turning toward those who adhere to the teaching of Scripture. Let's go to verse 11. It goes like this. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. I gotta tell you, I taught theology in seminary for over 10 years, and it's complicated because there's so much teaching out there, and most of the teaching is false, okay? Being fooled by everyone. Oh, follow me, follow me, follow me, And they're leading you not to Jesus Christ, but to some sort of institution where they make money, okay? Where they want to control people, manipulate people. You see that happening now. Check that box, getting there. Verse 12, very interesting. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. Now, that's a great theme of Jesus about the end time. The increase of lawlessness, every man for himself, the Wild West. I'm going to tell you, in the history of mankind, there's always been sort of like this sort of uncivilized aspect of civilization. But, it got a little better. And now it seems to pass a tipping point, and it's getting really bad nationally and internationally. Lawlessness. That's a great way to describe what is happening in this world today. And then verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. In the midst of all this, the teaching of Jesus, the spread of the good news of what Jesus Christ has done for us will continue and go throughout the world into all the nations. And that's beginning to be checked, if not very close to being checked. Four themes from the Olivet Discourse from these verses I read. First, Christians will be hated. Second, false teachers. Third, rise of lawlessness in this world. And fourth, the proclamation of the gospel to the ends of this world. Now, we got a lot more to talk about. The teaching of Paul, the Old Testament scriptures, and the book of the Revelation. But from the teaching of Jesus, what I see is the boxes are beginning to be checked. And that reveals to me that he understood what was happening. Okay, he saw, he kind of planned, he just knew it, you know. And that gives me a lot of comfort and a lot of hope that what I believe and who I follow isn't some sort of like, figment of my imagination. But God in his scripture gives proof of who he is and what he will do in this world. And I hope that during this trying time that we live in, that you find comfort in following Jesus Christ. Because you know what? I want the world to succeed, okay? I want us to be happy. But because of how bad human nature is, we need a deliverer. And the deliverer is not another human being, and it's not ourselves, it is Jesus Christ.